So as I navigate my way through the change of life, otherwise known as menopause, which, sucks for a lot of reasons, the worst of which is probably the hot flashes and the temperature control issues overnight, when you're trying to sleep and you're going from hot and cold, or you're just hot all the time. I didn't really realize there were climate control options for your bed, and the BedJet is one of them, so I thought I would try it and see how it works and if it lives up to the hype. I'll take you through everything, including the unboxing and the installation, as well as sharing all of my thoughts about the BedJet, good and bad, so you can decide whether or not it's right for you. So I'm going to start with unboxing the BedJet. This is the box that it came in, and as you can see, it's a pretty good sized box. So let's see what's inside. Okay, so I've got the box cut open, and this is what everything looks like as far as how it's packaged. So as you can see, everything is packaged really nicely inside, and it's, stable for shipping. The first thing that you see right away is the manual, which is handy because, obviously that's going to be the first thing that you look at if you're smart about setting this up. So we've got this, which I think is part of the base that holds the nozzle. This is the actual nozzle that goes up over the edge of the bed and blows the air. So that's what this looks like. It's a pretty good size. I'd say that's about like 6 inches or so. That's what she said. But yeah, this is the nozzle that actually will sit at the base and blow the air over the mattress. This is the tube that the air flows through. So I want to get to the device, which is buried under some pretty heavy-duty packaging. And yeah, so this is the actual unit. So as you can see, it's pretty large. Okay, so this is what the unit looks like. This is where the hose attaches, and this is the entire actual bed jet. Okay, so we're about to assemble this, but I wanted to go over a couple of quick things in the manual that it points out as far as your bed sheets. The biggest thing that you want to make sure is that your own bed sheets should have a thread count of 250 or higher. The lower the thread count, the looser the knit. So jersey knit or flannel, and some cooling top sheets that are made with synthetic fibers might be a lot more breathable, but they're going to let a lot more air from the jet flow through them, so you might actually feel the fan blowing against your skin. So just make sure that your sheets are a little higher thread count, and your own sheets should work just fine, but you can get the BedJet cloud sheet if you want. So I'm going to take you through the first part of the installation, which involves these 3 pieces. This is basically the mount that is going to hold the fan up over the mattress. And looking at the parts, it's pretty simple. You can look at things and kind of tell how they go together, even if you don't look at the manual. But I still recommend looking at the manual so you know what you're doing. So this end pops into here, and there's just a little tab, and it snaps into place. That's the first part of the installation. The next, this is the clamp that holds the nozzle and the fan in place. And just like this, it has a similar end with the tab that just pops into place like that. So basically, this setup, this is what sits between your mattress and the box spring or platform or whatever. This comes up the end of your mattress, and then this is where the fan gets held. Now that this part of the unit is together, we'll insert it into the mattress. Now, because I share a bed with my husband, I'm putting this more towards the middle of the end of the bed. So all I do, this soft side, this is what smushes between your mattress and your box spring. This just goes right inside, and that holds the whole unit in place. So when you first see how low this bracket sits, you might think, oh, there's no way this nozzle is going to be able to sit over the edge of my mattress. The hose itself actually expands, and it makes its own music while it does. So you can make that as long as you need to, and if you need to shorten it back up, it just goes right back together. This is as small as it gets though. So yeah, all right, let's attach the rest. Okay, so the next step is attaching the nozzle to the hose. Now, both ends of this are the same, so this part doesn't really matter so much, but it just pops right in. And it also, you can turn it around. It's, you can spin it however you need to, but it just pops right in. The final step, at least of this part of the assembly, is attaching this to the clamp. Now, the clamp is going to go around the fabric part, not this plastic part. So you want to make sure your clamp is around this fabric part. So, and the other thing they advise too, you can go like 1.5 inches higher, like so you can put the clamp here if you need to give yourself a little extra height. So that's entirely up to you based on your bed situation. But yeah, we're just gonna pop this in, or try to. Okay, so there we go. So when it's installed correctly, the clamp is around the fabric and the nozzle is just over the top of the mattress. It shouldn't be down here because it's going to be blowing air up through, up through your sheets. So yeah, that's about the correct placement on this. And yeah, we'll move to the next step. Once it's installed and you've got your sheet over it, this is what that looks like. It's not a huge lump at the end of your bed, but you definitely can see it. And then your bedding just gets, pulled down over it like normal. So yeah, it's not too obvious, but you can definitely see there's something hanging out over here. The final part of the assembly process really is just attaching the hose to the unit, and just like the nozzle, it just pops right onto the end of the hose. So just put this on and the unit is together. All you have to do is plug it in and you're ready to go. There's power button back here, and yeah, we'll see how this thing works. All right, so my BedJet didn't come with a remote, which means I had to use the app, and the app automatically found the BedJet, so I'm just gonna select it, and new BedJet detected. Woohoo! Please press the low power button on the back of your BedJet twice. Okay, so I think we're good. Continue. Okay, it just beeped at me, so setup is complete. Cool. Oh, hey, look, you can kind of see it's rising. It's blowing up my bed. Okay, that's kind of cool. Right now, I just have it on cool setting. The fan is at 50%. So let's see what happens when we turn it up even higher. Okay, so the fan goes up in 5% increments. All right, here we are at 80%, Look at how fluffy my bed looks. Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, let's see what happens when we crank this baby up to 100. All right, that's my that's my bed at 100. Okay, that's wild. Look at that. All right, and the fact that this is blowing up shows you that it's actually set up correctly, because it's supposed to do that. If the fan is doing what it's supposed to do, that's exactly what this is supposed to look like. So yeah, success. So the app itself is pretty freaking easy to use. I mean, everything is laid out in a way that makes sense. So if you want to turn the fan down, like, you literally just hit the down buttons. You can change the temperature from cooler to warmer. You know, this is not difficult to figure out, which I appreciate. So you can, you can cool, you can heat, you can set it to the dry setting. Let's see what turbo does. Okay, so turbo is a turbo heat with the fan setting at 100%. All right, that's good to know. And what it tells you, what I appreciate too, is it'll tell you what the set temperature is and what the actual temperature is. So as the temperature is changing, it'll show you and you'll know exactly where it's at. So let's put this back down to cool, and you can see it's going to be cooling. Let's kick this up so it cools a little faster. I think I confused it because I'm like going back and forth between the hot and cold, but you can see now that it's starting to cool. So yeah, I mean, the app is really simple to use, and I appreciate that because my device didn't actually come with a remote. But the setup of the app, you don't need the remote. It connected to the thing right away and was ready to go in like a minute. The one thing that I appreciated about the BedJet above everything else is how easy it was to install. It's really not complicated. It came together in a matter of, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes from the time that I unboxed it, and that included looking at the manual to make sure I was assembling it right. It's very, very simple, very straightforward. It only uses air to conduct the heating and cooling, so it's not overly complicated. My particular unit did not come with a remote, which is not a huge deal because it is app controlled. So as long as you have a smartphone, iPhone or Android or whatever, you can download the app, and even setting that up was very, very quick and easy. Using the app to control the fan, the temperature, all of the settings, also very simple. Overall, using it, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's very, very easy. So the biggest problem that I have with the BedJet, and most of it is a me problem, it's the way that I sleep. I'm kind of a strange sleeper in that I sleep on my stomach, but I have to have one foot hanging off of the bed. Like, I just do. I don't know why. I don't know what that says about me. It's probably nothing good, but I have to have a foot hanging off the edge of the bed. Well, where the nozzle sits is also on the edge of the bed, and because I share a bed with my husband, the nozzle has to sit sort of like in the middle of the end of the mattress. So I'm either kicking it, I'm bumping it with my foot, it's just sort of in the way, considerably, at least for me. Most normal sleepers probably aren't going to have a problem with this, but I have to, when I get into bed, I slither down, like I'm probably like my head's like 2 feet away from the wall, so my foot's hanging off the other end. I'm clearly not afraid that monsters are going to grab it in the night, but that's just how I sleep. And the nozzle really doesn't work all that well for me, to be honest. Another drawback to the BedJet is the fact that it is a fan. So it's going to make at least some degree of noise. And like most other fans, the higher you have it going, the louder it is. So I was curious to see just how loud it actually is, and I did a decibel test. So let's see how that turned out. So I wanted to see how loud this fan actually is, and I've got a decibel meter in my hand on my phone, and I'm going to be quiet for a second just so we can see what the reading actually is. So it's right around 55, 56 or so. Now this is a few feet away from the actual fan, so it's not like it's right up on it. This is more like an ambient sound. Okay. As you can see, it's not exactly quiet. It's not the loudest thing in the world, but if you're somebody who really needs complete silence and like sensory deprivation to sleep, there is going to be some noise with the BedJet. So that's a consideration for you, depending on how you prefer to sleep. If you don't mind like the white noise of a fan in the background, not going to be a problem at all. The one thing that I noticed about the BedJet, especially when my husband and I are both in bed, because of the way that the fan conducts the heating and cooling, it goes underneath the mattress, but it's not like the whole surface is, you know, temperature controlled. The air has to flow through sort of underneath the sheet and around your body. And it does work for heating and cooling, but especially towards the upper half of your body, the part that's toward the headboard, you notice the temperature less. That said, it's great for especially like feet and leg warming. If those are the areas that you find you're dealing with the most, your feet are either cold or you're hot, that's where you feel the most temperature control. So especially for like feet warming in the winter, oh my God, it's amazing. For full body cooling in the summer, you'll feel it more along your lower half than you will your upper half. So that's something to consider based on your needs and what works for you and what you need as far as a climate control system for your bed. So overall, the BedJet is pretty good. In some ways, it's not perfect in all of the ways, and it's not exactly ideal for what I'm looking for. I'm gonna continue my search, and I'm planning to try the 8 Sleep Pod and see how that works, because that is a full, like a complete mattress surface climate control system. It's not just air, it's the whole surface of the mattress that is climate controlled. And it is more of an expense, but I feel like it's likely gonna be more what I need, especially because I'm somebody that even in the summertime, I love to bury myself under the covers. I'm like even head and all, like literally this much of my face is sticking out so I can breathe, and the rest of me is like in a little cocoon. That's just how I sleep. And so I'm hoping that the 8 Sleep, the pod, is just gonna help keep me cool while allowing me to be buried under my blankets. I know it's a tall order. I have issues with the way I sleep. I'm very particular, and I'm sure a lot of other people are too. So that's going to be next on my list to try, because I think that's going to be more likely to deliver what I'm looking for. But the BedJet might be right for some people. Like it's certainly, if you're somebody that's only dealing with like cold feet or cold legs or hot feet and hot legs, I think the BedJet would be really, really good. You could try it and see, and it might just work for you depending on your needs. But as far as mine go, I'm gonna keep looking.